Welcome to Eureka Math. I'm Mr. Shankel. I'm going to be helping you today with the problem set from lesson 512, and these are the answers. All right, let's get going. Number one, determine the volume of the rectangular prism. Okay, well, I remember that volume of a rectangular prism is volume equals length times width times height, or as we learned in the lesson, volume equals the area of the base times the height. So I know that area of the base is length times width, and then I'll just multiply by the height, and we'll have volume. So here we go. The volume of this rectangular prism is volume equals 1 1/2 is 3 halves, and the width is 1/2, and the height is 7/8. So first I'm going to look to see if I can simplify before I multiply. It looks like no. So then I just multiply. 3 times 1 is 3 times 7 is 21 over 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 8 is 32. So it's 21 32nds meters cubed. That's the volume. Number 2. Area of the base of a rectangular prism is 4 3/4, and the height is 2 1/3. So I'm going to use volume equals area of the base times the height. And when I substitute in what I know, shouldn't be a problem. Volume equals 4 3/4, that's 19/4, times the height is 2 1/3, so that's 7/3. Looks like I can't simplify anything here. So 19 times 7 is 133 over 4 times 3 is 12. So it's 133/12 feet cubed. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, the length of a rectangular prism is 3 1/2 times as long as the width, and the height is 1/4 of the width, and the width is 3 centimeters. Okay, so let's write down what we know. We know that the width equals 3 centimeters, and we know that the length is 3 1/2 times the width. So that's 3 1/2 times the width, and then we know that the height is 1/4 of the width. So that's 1/4 times the width. And now we can figure out what all of these actually are. So since I know that the width is 3, I'm going to plug that 3 in for every W. So 3 1/2 times 3, that's going to be 3 1/2 is actually 7 halves times 3 equals 21 halves. And then 1/4 times 3 is 3/4. So this is equal to 3/4. And now I have the width is 3, the length is 21 halves, and the height is 3/4. And I can multiply all of those to get the volume. So let's do that. Volume is equal to 3 times 3/4 times 21 halves. And looks like I can't simplify, so 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 21 equals 189 as my numerator, and 4 times 2 is 8, so it's 189/8 cubic centimeters. Okay, there's the volume. Number 4. Write a numerical expression to represent the volume in 2 different ways. Well, we've talked about that. We can say the volume, one second here, the volume equals length, so 10 1/2, times width, 1 2/3, times the height, 6. We could do it that way. Or we could write volume equals the area of the base. Well, the area of the base is going to be 10 1/2 times 1 2/3. So that's 21 halves times 5/3, and I get 105/6 So 105/6 is the area of the base times the height, which is 6. And then determine the volume. Well, we did a lot of work already with the second problem, so I'm going to use that, and I can see that the 6's will cancel out. So I get the volume is equal to 105 inches cubed, 105 cubic inches. Number 5. An aquarium in the shape of a rectangular prism has the following dimensions: length 50 centimeters, width 25.5 centimeters, height 30.5 centimeters. Write numerical expressions to represent the volume in two different ways. And so let's do the same thing we did in the last one. Volume equals length is 50 times the width is 25.5 times the height is 30.5. So there's one way. The next way would be to find the area of the base. And the area of the base is going to be 50 times 51 halves. So 50 over 1 times 51 halves. 50 times 51. Let's see here. 50 times 51. 2,550 over 2. And we can divide that. So we're going to divide by 2. And we get 1,275 is the area of the base. So the area of the base is 1,275 square centimeters. And then we'll have to multiply by the height, which is 3.5, and that's 7 halves. So can't simplify anything, so I'm just going to do 1,275 times 7 is 8,925 over 2, and those are cubic centimeters. So there is the volume of the prism, rectangular prism. Number 6, the area of the base in this rectangular prism is 36 square centimeters, 12 times 3. As the height of the rectangular prism changes, the volume will also change as a result. Complete the table to determine the various heights and volumes. Well, you can see that if we take the area of the base, which is at 36, and we multiply that by 2, so we're going to multiply 36 times 2, we get 72. And 36 times 3 will be 108. So in order to get this height when the volume is 144, we're going to take 144 and divide that by 36, and that gives us the 4. Probably could have figured that out, right? That means this one's going to be a 5, or 180 divided by 36 is 5. 6 times 36 will be our next volume, which is 216. That's going to go right here. 7 times 36 is 252. That one's going to go right here. And then this one obviously would be an 8. To get the first one, we've got a 1, and this first 1 times 36 would be 36. So there's our table. Write an equation to represent the relationship in the table. Well, what we're doing is we're taking the we're saying that volume is equal to the area of the base times the height. And since we know that the area of the base is 36, it would be volume equals 36 times the height. Okay, that's number 6. Let's look at number 7. Number 7 is the volume of a rectangular prism is 16.328 cubic centimeters. The height is 3.14 centimeters. Let B represent the area of the base, and write an equation that relates volume. Well, we already know it. We've used it all lesson long. Volume equals area of the base times the height. And then we're just going to substitute what we know. And I know that the volume is 16.328. That's the volume. I don't know the area of the base, so they said to represent that with a B. And I do know that the height is 3.14. So 3.14 times B. And if I multiply by the reciprocal of 3.14, then I will get my answer. So I'm going to do that to both sides, multiply by the reciprocal of 3.14, and that gives me a division problem. B, the base, area of the base, is equal to 16.328. 16.328 in my calculator divided by 3.14 is 5.2, and these would be square centimeters because it's an area. All right, and that's it. Those are the answers to Module 5, Lesson 12. Hope that helps. See you again next time.